This is part 4 of creating the stack proportional circular area chart. And what we're going to do now is we're going to make sure we have these nice borders. So I'm going to scroll down here, and I do want to adjust one thing. We have here this item, and I realized we could just copy this and assign them all identical here with the index, put them all on 0. Then we can remove all of this. We should probably have the same response. There we are. So that looks all very nice. So the next thing what we want to do now is start to work on the border. To create the border, what we have to do here is ctx, and then we're going to say a dot begin path. When you have the begin path, make sure you have your capital P. And the reason why we use this is to avoid bleeding over of color effects. So then what I want to do here is to draw an item. So for this, I'm going to say here ctx.arc. ctx.arc, and the arc here allows us to draw curves or circular shapes. So we're going to say here this, and then we're going to put in here, let's say here 100 by 100. And then what we want to do here is to calculate here the radius. What we could say here is the outer radius. We have here the outer radius, and probably what I think is even more appropriate, because this here later on needs to probably be in here as well, but we can just grab one of it first, put it in here as the outer radius, and then we're going to say here the angle, which is here the start angle, and then we have here the end angle, and finally we have here the counterclockwise yes or no. In this case we say false. For the starting angle, we're going to work with degree. So we have the 0 degree and the 360. But to do this, we need to convert the math.pi into this proper calculation. So what I'm going to say here, constant constant angle will be equal to math.pi divided by 180 degree. And what this basically does, we're going to grab this one here. We're going to say this multiplied by 360, and that will make a full circle. So once we did this, I'm going to say your ctx dot stroke to confirm the drawing of it, and then save this and refresh and see what we get. Alright, interesting. We're getting nothing because we get an index error or a reference that is not existing, and probably in here. My bad. I guess later on we can move that up here, but we just leave it for now. Let me just say here this will be circular border line, so we know which part we're on. I'm going to remove all of this. Save that, refresh. As you can see here, we have now this circle. What we could do is the following. We're going to cut out this part, put it in here. Then I could say your index. So I'm going to leverage this part here of the for each loop. And we have now 3 circles here. Let's put them a bit more in position. So to get this, we have here the 100, 100. But what I want here now is basically the center line. And the one we are familiar with is basically this one here. Let me just show you again. That's the console log. Chart.getDatasets meta index 0, but later on we're going to put it in this for loop, or for each loop. Then here, data set 0, or sorry, data point 0, then x and y. So what I could do here is basically grab this value. Well, let's save that. You can see here 350. If I grab this one, put it in here, save. There we are. Now we're starting to get in a better position. Now I have to move it just down. So what we can do is, well, let me just make this easier to make it a bit more readable because our code is becoming very extensive. So what I'm going to say here, constant x center will be depending on the index here. Put this one in there, save, refresh. It still works same. Then what I want to do is I want to do another one, but then we say here the y center. And the y center is basically the y center depending on index. Copy this, put it in here, save. Alright, so you can see it's starting to do something, but it's still not really accurate because of, look at this here. This y center here is probably the right term. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, put it in here. I will say that this will be my new y center. Save that, refresh, and now we get the exact center of this. What I want to do is just refactor this one here. I'll just say here this will be constant inner radius, and I'm not sure if we will be needing later on something else as well. So what I will do is this, I'll just say also outer radian. So outer radius equals that. Save that. There we are. Alright, let's copy this. We have here the outer radius. Let's reduce the amount of code here. Save that. You can see here as well, we got all of this. Say outer radius. You should get the same response. There we are. That looks quite nice here. The next thing what I want to do, and that will be in the next video, is making sure that we have the animation of the border line. I'm going to have that as well with this animation on there.